What's going on, everybody? This is Chris Classic dropping a car vlog. Hope you guys and gals are having a wonderful day. Nobody tells you, that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. Despite everything that's going on with me, still going to continue to do content. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, the Take It Home podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics, and I put up my matches as Classic Alpha, a professional wrestler of 14 years. And I should be happy and celebrating and being a little happy that it's been 14, but like with everything that's been happening since big business, it's just like, I feel like my wrestling world, my personal life is falling apart, but still, I think that's still a plus. Sometimes you gotta look at the positives and deal while you deal with the negatives, but still, you can see my matches as Classic Alpha on the playlist on this channel. I just uploaded a few days ago, me versus Johnny Blasphemy and my Backbreaker Wrestling debut. So make sure you like, comment, and still subscribe. Also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling. Despite everything going on, it's still a family-owned business. The flyer dropped 420 yesterday. A lot of people are liking it and stuff like that, and it's a nice flyer. I don't like the board's logo plastered on C3 because it's still C3. And then see my wife is like the centerpiece is just it's giving Paul vibes from the WrestleMania 42. It's giving that, but still. Anyway, back in Dyer, Indiana, Harrah's private venue, May 23rd. Tickets are on sale on Eventbrite. They'll be $5 more at the door bars. I wanted to talk about what everybody else has been talking about between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargil. Basically more on Jade Cargil's tweets. Not only did she have something to say and went back and forth and got smoked a little bit by other people, including Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. I didn't know that Piper was injured. I didn't even know she was injured. But still, people are like, oh, they're going to really be fighting. They're really going to be fighting at WrestleMania because, Rhea made a post. They were already doing jabs. And then Jade said, oh, are you going to go talk to creative like you usually do? So then there was a post that Rhea said, no friends, none of this stuff and all of that. You're going to learn about basically speaking on people you don't know and lying on them and stuff. So, like, people are in a tizzy. Like, people are like, some are legit trying to say, okay, well, this was when it was kayfabe and this was when it was legit and stuff like that. And it's going to be nasty, it's going to be brutal, it's going to be this. And my thing is it real or fake? My answer is it could be both. I mean, my thing is this, yo. It's wrestling. Sometimes these quote-unquote beefs that people want to be legit, they literally be next to each other in the same room tweeting and all of that stuff. You bring topics to it, you bring rumor mills, you bring attention to it. I'm speaking about it now or whatever like that. And even if it's real, okay, some of us work with people who we don't like, but we still do what's best for business. And that's the kind of stuff that happens. Like I said, I'm not big on wrestlers, especially wrestlers in dominating fashion, speaking on a personal level on their social media, especially if it's their character. And honestly, Rhea Ripley is definitely not shy of one of those ones. I remember when she was legit beating up Dom and Ray as part of the Judgment Day bars. I remember when that stuff was happening and she would tweet about people basically hating on Maxine because Maxine wasn't getting wrestling like she is now. And oh, how dare y'all, she worked so hard. I'm like, ma'am, you were supposed to be a bully right now. Why are you on social media cheering for somebody or trying to uplift somebody that you would literally beat up? You were literally beat up. So, like I said, it could have some legitimacy to it. But even then, what Jade said could be some legitimacy to it as well. Some people watch Unreal. Most of the clips I see on Unreal is Paul next to Rhea. Now, I don't know how the show plays out, but what most people have talked about is Rhea and Triple H hugging Rhea funny, or EO hugging Triple H the way he did and all that. Still, I do think it could be legit on both ends. And even if they did get under each other's skin, that's fine. Just be professional. Now, we've all talked about Jade. Lack of title run. lack of title defenses. And it's like, to me, it does look like Jade may lose. And honestly, at this point, if you're not going to do nothing with her besides just show up and look great, why not? Some people are thinking that EO should cost Jade, I mean not cost Jade, cost Rhea the title because they not going for the tag titles anymore. I don't even want to see that. If y'all gonna have Rhea beat Jade, have Rhea beat Jade. Jade has lost before. Rhea is a dominant wrestler. Now on social media it's a totally different thing, but still, how I smile. But I don't know, man. I don't think EO should cost Rhea the title. Like, let them go their separate ways. Like, they beefed with each other. Rhea has lost to EO. EO's never lost to Rhea. Let that go to a feud down the line at SummerSlam or something, if y'all are going to do something. I think the experiment with Jade, I think it has run its course. And this is coming from someone who is a fan of Jade. I actually like Jade. She has improved and all of that stuff. But obviously, they either lost faith or they just don't know what to do as far as Jade Cargil is. Like with AEW, she had a ceiling. She reached the ceiling and she left. Now she's supposed to be a top champion and she just shows up. And I'm saying this because I do know what I said as her being a bad gal and a heel. She's not supposed to wrestle every week. I definitely understand that. She's not supposed to defend her title every week. And it's the Drew approach too. You could even say Drew that's got the belt and he's not really defending much, but he's about to on SmackDown. But still, it does seem like it's just a little, in the words of Judge Judy, a little kerfluffle that's going on with Jade Cargill's reign. It's not going to be the best. It's dang near could trend for the worst. I don't think it's worse enough for people to remember it 10 years down the line. People be like, oh dang, she was a champion. And that's even bad if it doesn't even make a top 10 list of worst championship runs. And this is coming from somebody who likes Jade. But still, if I had to put money, if I was a betting man, I would bet that Rhea would win. I do expect the match to be good, but I do expect Rhea to win. You know, she is a believable contender to beat Jade and to dethrone Jade. Would I want Jade to win? Of course. But the way they're doing stuff is crazy. And to even have EO help Jade keep the title, I don't even want to see that, because what happens to the believability of Jade Cargil? What's going on, Doc? I hope everything's well. What goes on to the believability of Jade Cargil, a person who's getting booed and she's that BI you know what, and she can't even win a match by herself without EO? Like, if anything, she's been beating people in dominant fashion. It would be cool to see if she was going to win, beat Rhea by herself. You know, but we'll see where it goes. But as far as the beat goes, it could be some realness in it. It could be some fakeness in it. But like I said, Muzz, like, no offense to everybody, but Muzz be like, man, they going to be fighting. They going to be doing that. So maybe that's what it is. You know, back then, when storylines were storylines, people thought like people was legit hurt. Sometimes they was. But the greater good was for actual wrestling and selling tickets and stuff like that. You know, like I said, two things could be true at one time. You know, we look at Rhea on Unreal and all of this stuff about creative and stuff. This is stuff that, honestly, as a wrestler, I don't even like talking to the fans about. But the fact that the number one company turned around and doing it, and now they're using it in storyline, come on now. You know, Piper said something about Jade saying, oh, okay, well, we'll see when you come back from the mini vacations you be having. Now, I'm paraphrasing, but that's also true as well. Jade be vacationing. Another laugh and a smile. Jade be vacationing and stuff like that. And like I said, she does PR stuff. She does a lot of red carpet events. She does things that, honestly, champions should be doing. I do know that a lot of wrestlers be like, oh, well, wrestlers should be wrestling. They shouldn't be doing all of this stuff. But, you know, since Stone Cold, since Hulk Hogan, Muggs have been in commercials. Muggs have been on red carpet events. They've been doing these kind of things because of the Hollywood stuff, because of all of the stuff to get the attention on that. Jade, to me, does bring a lot of attention to wrestling, especially with how she looks, how she carries herself, how she dresses and stuff like that. Remember, back then, that's in the 90s and stuff, you was a woman with muscles. They considered you just so masculine and stuff like that, and you wasn't a soft. You didn't seem soft. You know, we look at the days of China and Nicole Bass and stuff like that. Now we're looking at women, they're, you know, they got a muscular physique, They look elegant. They look great. Nothing against China and Nicole, but how they presented them and how they dressed is definitely one thing. Even when China started being more feminine in her real life as Joni and stuff like that, it was like, man, it looked like two different people because she showed that she can carry herself as a female. Now it's a little different. Now you can have all of that with the muscles. When you look at Rhea, when you look at Jade, you look at Bianca, you even look at Jordan Grace, even though my homie said she kind of looked like Neville. Drew you out for that one. But still, you can have like a different thing and a different mindset and stuff like that. And I think that when women look at Jade and be like, oh, you're a wrestler, you're a champion, maybe I need to check it out and see what's going on. Like that, these are also possibilities as well. But as far as like this beef, I don't think it's like beef where it like goes to blows. And if it does go to blows, the blows that probably either happen on the build up to WrestleMania in segments or at the show. But like I said, you don't have to like your opponent. Sometimes you'd be surprised. You think, you know, I'm a wrestler, so sometimes people get booked to go against people they don't like because either for business or trying to do things. Sometimes people is like, okay, well, I can put my feelings to the side and I can do this match. I can be great because I actually like wrestling for this company over my dislike or disdain for this person. Those kind of things happen. You know, I don't think that everybody in WWE likes each other, but they work with each other and stuff like that. And it's not always something that's personal. Me personally, they probably just sitting down tweeting each other, texting each other like, look what I sent, look what I did this and that, I did this and that. Like, it won't be long until people start deleting tweets. Y'all know that's gonna happen. Y'all know the elite tweet gate is gonna happen because that happens as well. You know, that's one thing I will say about Vince, and I said I want him back, is that, like, you know, they would like kind of have a little control over social media posts because they didn't want people to do certain things. I remember they had fake Facebook pages. Like, to this day, you probably still got that Sasha Banks Facebook page that WWE used to run. And they used to post stuff and all that. They still do that to this day. So I still remember that, another laugh. I still remember that. So it's just like, you know, it was just certain things because what you do outside of the company, you do represent the company. And I do wish people understood that a little bit more. People be like, oh, well, censorship and freedom of speech and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences, right? And that's also very, very important because you do represent the company even when you're not there. That's 100% true, and it's a fact. Is it fair? But that's just one of those things that you got to live with. But like I said, as I'm at work now, legit or not, hopefully it's a good match. That's all I'm thinking about or whatever like that. You know, like I said, you know, they could be joking. They could be serious. It could be both. But let's see. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.